Hello, everybody.
So while we're waiting for everyone to join, um, please feel free to drop your name and Blue Sky handle in chat. So I'll give it just a couple more minutes and then we will get started.
I see some familiar faces already. I love it. Hey, Ray. Hey, Danielle.
We were
Hey,
going to
Deb.
do we were going to do a meeting, but there were so many people. And if you're new to our calls, this is Daxter. He thinks you're here just to see him. So don't persuade him of that notion. He would be very sad. He lives for Zoom calls.
He's a Zoom star. I think he gets the
Yes.
zoomies when
Yeah.
you host a Zoom call.
He was raised in quarantine, that's why. So he's terrified if people come over, but he loves Zoom calls. So, all right, well, we will get started. Thank you to everyone for joining. Um, DemCast launched 5 years ago as a way to try to combat the Republicans' bots and trolls and actually having social media coordinated organic messaging on the left. And we started in Twitter, have been branching out, and then obviously everyone's come over to Blue Sky, which is reminds me of the good old days in Twitter when I first started. So um, this is kind of what we're going to go over tonight, kind of how to make sure that you've got a good profile, managing your preferences, interactions, creating starter packs and lists. And then we will have time at the end for questions. Please use the Q&A because it goes way too fast in chat for us to be able to catch all the questions. So please use the Q&A and we will be sending out the slide deck after, as well as a recording of the video. So let's get into the wonders of Blue Sky.
Um, yeah, and before we move on to that, I just want to say if you would like to save the chat, if you haven't done that before, in the chat box down at the bottom where there's a little folder and a little smiley face and three dots. If you go to the three dots, the first option there is to save the chat. So if you don't have to frantically write down everybody's handle, if you would like to follow some folks back here. Um, and then it'll save to your chat when you're finished. It'll save. All right. Um, okay.
I'm just making sure that I have enabled um, chat saves. So
Well, let me do it.
yeah, but you're a co-host. So
I know. That's why I said that.
um, yes, everyone should be able to save the chat. So
Awesome. Okay. So on Blue Sky, you have your profile and your handle. So you have the ability, the difference is here, your name, your display name, that can be your actual name. That can be a pseudonym if that's what you're more comfortable with. Um, it could be basically whatever you want it to be, but it shouldn't be blank. Um, Bots, when we look at potential bot accounts, they typically won't have a name. They won't have um, a profile picture. Um, Marilyn, we could send that out to you. Um, okay, so you're going to want to go to edit your profile and make sure you have a display name. And under the description here, you want to tell people about who you are. What is it that you stand for and believe in? And I'm going to actually recommend that you list some of the important things at the very beginning of your profile, of your description. And I'll show you why later on.
Yeah. And if you are on Twitter and you're moving over to BlueSky, one thing that really has made a huge difference is to make your BlueSky as similar to your Twitter as possible. It just makes it so much easier for people to find you that are coming over from Twitter. Um, when I launched, I literally copied everything over from Twitter. My handle, my picture, my description, and it was crazy.
Yes, totally agree. Okay. And so by going into your settings, this is where you can look at what your handle is and change it if needed. Okay. So if you're not sure what your handle is, then that's what it is.
And we really recommend changing your handle to not just the one that can be pre-assigned because bots and trolls never change it. You'll get that number string.
Right. Okay.
And then one of the great features, if you are managing multiple accounts, if you're with a local indivisible group and you're managing your indivisible and you have your personal account, it's super easy to go toggle back and forth between accounts. So when you go to your settings, you'll see a switch account. You want to jump to the next slide?
Yep.
And then you can do multiple. And just literally with a click, you can go back um, and forth to really quickly. And if you're on your app, you get notifications for both accounts, whether you're logged in specifically to one versus the other.
Ooh, that's nice. I didn't know that.
It's nice, but can also make it confusing.
I bet. I bet. Some things I wanted to tell you about is in your settings, you under this section right here, there's several important things that you may want to use. One is under moderation. If you click under moderation, you will see you can go in and mute certain words. So if you never want to see the word MAGA come up on your feed again, you can do that, but it might be someone who's saying, look at what this MAGA person did. It's going to mute that post as well. This is also where you can see who you have muted and who you have blocked. Um, so if somebody says, are you blocking so and so, or why aren't you following so and so, then you might have muted them or blocked them. Um, which that would be up to you about whether you wanted to change your mind. Um, it, I tend to personally, I can't find settings. Okay, so um, on BlueSky, um, let's see. I don't know if you want to bring up BlueSky, Jamie, so we can share some things live.
What was that?
If you're looking for settings, let's see. Yeah. If it's on your phone, if you're on your phone, it looks differently than if you're on the web. So if you're on your phone, you can actually swipe your whole and you're on your profile. you can swipe your whole profile off to the right and you'll see these items. If you're on the computer, on the left-hand side, it should have a home button, and down at the bottom of that should say settings. If not, Madeline is saying another format might be in your top left corner, the three dots. Might get you to settings as well. Oh, it's bars on Android. Okay, good. Leslie found it. Okay. Um, Under content and media, you can also choose how you want your threads to appear. And you can also set up media players. So like if you want to be able to view YouTube, um, people who are sharing YouTube videos, you have to set up and enable a video player for that. All right. Excuse me. So one of the things that I like to know is who's liking my post, who's responded to them, who's quoting them. And when you look at a post, you will see at the bottom of the post, it has how many reposts, how many quotes, how many likes. And when I clicked on likes here, I got this partial list of people. Now, of these people, who do you think I might be following back? Anybody have a guess? Yeah, it looks like two, maybe. Um, the Kim here, maybe Keep Yapping, maybe Polly here. I'm probably not going to follow back Charlie Brown. I don't know anything about him. Um, uh, yes, we're going to answer that, Linda. Um, so we want to make sure that, and this doesn't mean this is the only vetting you do if you want to follow people. Of course, you may want to go directly to their profile and you can click here on this list to look at their profile. Exactly, Cicely. This is why you want your bio to say, um, this is why you want your bio to say something about it. Where do you find those on the phone? The same place. You're going to go to one of your posts on the phone. At the bottom of one of your posts will be the interaction that's happened. Okay. So it looks the same at least on my phone. I have an iPhone. And Jamie, you have an Android, don't you?
Mhm.
But they're
No,
on the
it's,
bottom of the post.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, it's just all right here. Probably can't see very, yep, right on the
Yeah.
bottom.
So go to the post, if you go to the post and click on how many likes there are, it will give you a list of the people who like that post. Okay. And if you click on the quotes, it'll give you the list of people it'll actually go to the quotes themselves. Okay. And just remember that we're going to have Q&A at the end of this. So if you'll put your questions in Q&A, it's hard to keep up with the chat to answer your questions because we have a fair amount of people on. We want to make sure that we do answer everybody's questions. Okay. One thing that is could be helpful is
Best
detaching
thing about
quotes.
Blue Sky.
What's that?
Best thing about Blue Sky.
The a very nice thing, because you cannot do this on Twitter. If somebody quotes you and you don't want them to quote you, so I put an example of somebody who quoted me. Okay. Now, her quote is fine and I like it. I'm not going to detach it. But I've also been quoted by somebody who said, this is what the whining liberals like. Okay. Um, so when I saw that, I chose to detach my post from that. And so when you click the bottom three little dots at the bottom of the quote post, then what we want you to do that what you want to do there is click this detach quote. Okay. And so if you don't want this quote to show up under their post, then that'll take it away. Okay. All right. Jamie, you want to talk about this?
So again, we have Blue Sky does not allow chat groups like you have on Twitter or Instagram. But by default, Blue Sky sets up your chat messages that no one can message you. And so you want to go to your messages, and then you will see these two little tiny circles with lines, and that is where you go in to change your chat settings. So you can choose to allow from everyone, just people you follow, or nobody at all. So, um, and there goes the cat over the computer. Um, so that is I mean, one day they may have user groups, but for right now, that is how you want to change your direct messages. And it is set to default that no one can message you. So,
So just again, that is how to get to that little, I don't even know what that symbol is, but at the on the bottom of your screen on a iPhone, you'll see a little bubble with three dots in it. That's how to get to your messages. And then at the top of that screen, you'll click that little symbol that Jamie has highlighted there, and then you can choose that. If you're on the computer, um, you'll see your chat to the left of your main screen, and you'll click that chat setting at the top as well. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jamie. Jamie's going to
and
talk about starter packs.
this is a question I have seen in here a lot, starter packs. First off, what are starter packs? This lets you create a list of your favorite people, organizations to let other people follow them. And what's great is if it's from an account you trust, that means that these accounts have been vetted. And this is one of the reasons that we have seen such an explosion of user accounts just exploding in popularity because people are sharing their starter packs. So I know that if Lori shares a starter pack, that these people are vetted. I don't have to worry about going in there. I can just go in and follow them. And so we have three starter packs right now. We also have one for organizations to follow, and there is a cap of 150. So to create a starter pack, you go to your profile and you will see starter packs right up there. If you're on your mobile, you might have to scroll over a little bit because on my view, it cuts off at feet. Um, but literally all you do is click starter pack. And then you will see a create. If you haven't created one, it will say create starter pack. You want to title it, tell us a little bit about it. So if you're doing a starter pack for The best resistance accounts. Or you can do one for, people who post about cats because you want maybe a feed that has some other stuff in it. And so you want to name it, tell people a little bit about who it is. And then once you hit next, you need at least 7 accounts to start. But what's nice is that when you create this, it will actually populate with the accounts you've interacted with the most. And so that makes it actually really easy when you're first starting it because the accounts you've most interacted with are going to be right up there at the top. So you can either scroll or you can go in and search a handle. And you don't need to their exact handle. You can literally just start typing in, Lori C, and it will pop up for you. And then once you've done that, you can share the starter pack.
Okay, so we have a few questions in the chat. So a starter pack is a list of people that a person or an organization has vetted, okay, that they have picked for some reason. In this case, if you have your phone with you and you're on BlueSky, if you go to and look up DemCast USA and you scroll over at the after you see their profile, then you'll see something that says posts, replies, media, and that piece actually scrolls over and you'll find starter packs. So that if you're on your phone, you won't see starter packs unless you scroll that line over. Okay. Then when you click on that starter pack, you'll see what starter packs, and that's what you would see, what's on your screen right now. Um, and then if you're not on your phone, it's the same way. So if you're on the computer and you go and you search for DemCast, for example, okay.
And I just dropped a starter pack in the chat. And this is where I'm starting to put Democrat elected officials there that have joined BlueSky. It is not up to date because I found a lot more, but kind of gives you an idea of what they look like. Um, and then the other cool thing is you have a choice that you can follow everybody that's on it with just a click of a button, or you can go through. Um, I saw a comment in here that people go through because they don't want to follow some of the influencer vanity clicky accounts. And I agree, I do the same thing. There's not a single starter pack. I've just followed all. I go through. So
Is that list only federal? Um,
no, I have state, some locals. I started this a few weeks ago when there wasn't that many on BlueSky, and now it's an explosion. And so I'm having a hard time keeping up. So now I'm actually just going to a list for that instead. So
I think the cool thing about starter packs is I'm going to see. Can y'all see my screen now?
yep.
Okay. So you can either go and you could hit this follow all. Okay. You could also look at the post from the people in this list. And that might tell you, is this something that you want um, to follow? Okay. So if I'm not quite sure, that's okay. And you
And
certainly aren't required to follow everybody in one of these posts.
And what the feed section is, are when you're creating your starter pack, you can actually choose to make it part of a feed that already exists. So you can make it a feed with popular with friends or anything like that, so that more people can see it.
Okay. Let's move that out of the way then. user list. You want to go over that, Jamie?
Yep. So the difference between a starter pack and a list, and this is very similar to a Twitter list. This is where people that you want to follow, you want to see what they're saying, but you don't necessarily want to follow them and have them clutter up your feed. So you can do it for, a list of reporters, news outlets, Democratic politicians. So when you use a list, people can't just go in and simply follow like you would on a starter pack, but it creates more of a shareable feed where you just can see everything that all Democratic politicians are doing. Um, Lori, do you want to pull up the list from my account? And
Yeah.
since
Uh, I'll make it to you. There we are. No, why did you do that? Is it not getting out of this? I want to go away from this.
there's a list in chat that might make it easier.
Well, I can get to the, okay.
So the list, it just shows you in chronological order, all of the posts from people. So, we've got Robert Garcia, we've got Gavin Newsom. So, and then you can choose to pin that list to your feed as well. So it's just an easy way to get the information without you having to actually follow them. So that's the difference. Starter packs make it super easy for others to follow, where a list just basically makes a curated feed that you can look at their posts.
So you can see when I hit pin, it then pinned this to the bottom of my feed. Okay. And if I go to my feeds, I can edit how they show up. So if I want this politician one to be up at the closer to the top, I just have to keep pushing that arrow button until I get it there. Okay.
And to create a list, you literally, just like with the starter packs on your profile, you will see a list and it's just literally creating a new list.
Right. Okay.
And the next one are feeds, which are BlueSky is an open source, and so anybody with tech knowledge can go in and actually create stuff, and that's what these are. And so the top of your feed will have like following, discover, popular with friends, mentions, and we've actually created a DemCast one. Um, and so you can then go to if you scroll down to discover new feeds, you could put in like resist, and that will give you any feed that somebody has created that is talking about the resistance. You could do this with any topic you want, and you can actually even create other feeds. So that is, so when you're looking for kind of like new content, because there is no algorithm on BlueSky, this is a great place to go because you can go to just people you're following. You can go to discover content, which will then bring up content from people who you don't necessarily follow, but your network does. And so that's a great way. And what's nice about it is that you're actually controlling your own algorithm and feed. You know, Twitter or Instagram is not forcing you into something that you don't want to see.
Okay.
And if you want to be included on a feed, you could, you use a post and use the hashtag DemCast, it would show up on that feed. There's BlueSky, where if you're a Black creator, you can use the hashtag BlueSky and it will show up on that feed.
So, and I see there's a question in the chat about blocking and muting, what the difference is. So we talked about this already, that but when you are on someone's profile and the choice there is to follow, there are three dots next to that profile name, and that brings up this menu where you can mute, block, or report. You can also do this on any post that you see. So the difference between muting and blocking is that when you're muting it, that person can still follow you, can still interact with your post. You just won't know it because you're not going to see what they write. But everybody else who looks at that post will see it. If you block that person, they are no longer following you if they were, and they can now not interact with your posts. They so they can't repost, they can't quote post anything. Okay. Um, Will is asking, is there a way to do that in bulk? There are some lists that are block lists. Um, so I will leave that up to you. I know on Twitter that was a big problem.
It still is a problem because what is happening are some fake MAGA accounts are creating accounts to look like they're liberal and putting in a bunch of, strong
Real people.
Democrats. And so already we've had multiple people blocking each other that were mutual followers. So with any block list, I would never subscribe to an entire block list, go through manually. Um, because it will be a problem.
Personally, I prefer just to block and mute as I go. Um, and remember, Elizabeth says, oops, she already did. That's okay. Um, so, what you want to do there is you can go into your account. I showed you earlier how to look at who you have muted and blocked, just in case there's somebody there who's somebody who you want to unblock them, which is nice because we couldn't do that on Twitter. You couldn't see a list of people that you'd muted and blocked.
And from someone's profile, if you have created a list, like if I, like I saw Elizabeth Warren joined yesterday. And so I was able just to click the add to list and add to my list very quickly if you do have a list.
All right.
Messages are called chats. So either on the bottom of your phone or it'll be on the left-hand side, but it's chats.
Yes, so that's where your messages are. It's these on your phone, you'll see this little icon here, with the bubble with the three dots, and on your computer, you'll see um, it actually named chat. Okay.
And and one fun thing about BlueSky is since it is open source, people can create stuff. And so there is one called the BlueSky Roast, which is really fun to do. Um, because it kind of is like this AI version, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a fun roast. I'll have to say mine was weirdly accurate, but it will tell you like what your red flags are and what would be your dating app. It's just a fun little thing to do.
It's
Um,
hilarious. You should
it
definitely do
is.
it. It's
It,
if just for a laugh. Lisa's asked, what happens if someone follows me and I block them? They can't follow you anymore. Yeah. Okay.
if you do see, someone asked if that was really Elizabeth Warren, and when I see a new Democrat rep come up, I actually go and look and see who they're following, and look to see if any other Democratic reps are following them. Because
A
that
lot
has
of times,
usually,
okay, sorry, Jamie.
yeah, because that usually has been the kind of the telltale. Um, that because I did see like a fake Cory Booker one, but no other senator was following that account. So that was kind of the flag.
Um, so, and another thing that you can do is you can go to their website, and a lot of times it'll list their social handles for each whatever social
I
channel
think
that they're on.
Blue Sky's too new yet, but
It probably is, but I'm just saying that going forward, that could be another way of determining who the real person is. And like for me, I'm still on Twitter, even though I don't use it very much. But I went ahead and put my BlueSky handle in my bio. That way, if anybody's looking for me from there, that they can find me over here.
and then this is a cool little one. This actually lets you see not only who you've blocked, but who's blocked you. And it lets you see what lists that you're on. So, and again, just like with Twitter, if you're on a list you don't want to be, you just need to go in and block that user, whoever created that. Um, so we will put all of this in chat. The first one is just like the top 500 accounts on Twitter. AOC is number 2. She's only behind Blue Sky. So that's kind of fun to see. And then if you do want to create your own user feed, the Sky feed is where you do it. It is a little bit technical. And I've had issues just today and ended up having to delete and start again. And then if you have like a starter pack that you want to convert to a list, because right now you have to do it manually, there's a tool for that. So these are all some real fun tools. And there is even an open source where you can literally see Blue Sky users in real time and how many users per second. So,
All right, so now we're going to
so
go back to the Q&A. So Catherine said, I don't see my posts in the feed. So I don't know that you necessarily will see your post in the feed. Like your feed is going to show you the people that you're following, not yourself. So if you want to see your posts, you would need to go to your profile, right?
mhm.
Why is it not showing me? I'm not used to being on the computer. I'm used to being on my phone.
Go down to profile.
Okay, so here I am. All right. One of the things that yeah, we did that. One of the things that I like to do is I like to look at mentions, which is one of the fees that you can choose. And this is a nice place to see who is responding to you or quoting you. So if you want to know that, go over to your mentions and you'll be able to see. Um, so this is a mention I got. Okay. So these are the people who are responding to me. This is somebody who quote posted me, another reply. So you can just see if you want to know if anybody's like posting or quoting you and you don't like it. Okay. Um, Somebody asked, how do you pin a post? So what you do is you go to the post, hit the three dots, and then click the very top one that says pin to your profile. Okay. And then that will be the top post um, in your feed. So when I go to profile, I'm currently doing a 31 ways to resist for the month of December. So each day I am pinning the day's resistance to my profile. Okay.
And then we have a question about can you have a private group like on Facebook on BlueSky? No.
No, and I won't be surprised if they add that. That's a pretty popular um, that's a pretty popular use case of social media. So um, okay. When I click repost on one of my posts, it asks if I want to repost it or quote, but it doesn't bring up who reposted it. Right. So if I want to see who reposted this, then I'm going to go down here. This is comments, this is repost, this is likes, and I'm going to click. Oh, let me go to it.
You
Go
want to
to the
click
actual
into your
post.
post.
Yeah, click on your post. And then here I can see who quoted it. And I can see who liked it. Okay. All right.
And then I did see someone ask if there's a way you can find starter packs. And here is the link to that. That is a starter pack directory.
Okay. And did you put the link to converting a starter pack into the feed into the chat,
Not
Jamie?
into the chat, it's in um,
The presentation. So
we will be sending out the video, the slide deck with all of the links to everyone who registered for tonight's call. So be on look on for your email tomorrow. It will come from admin at DemCast, but we will send all of this out.
yes, exactly. Somebody had asked a question about if we used deck.blue. I don't use deck.blue. Do you, Jamie?
It's just like TweetDeck. If you liked TweetDeck, it's the BlueSky version of TweetDeck. I hated TweetDeck. So
Yes. Right. Is there a tweet deck for Blue Sky? We answered that. Okay.
um,
Okay, got that.
So there's a question when I click on the number of likes at the bottom of my post, it adds an additional like from me. You actually want to go in and click in to the post. So your post is the only one showing to be able to see the likes. If you're just doing it from the bottom, then it will just give you a like.
Right. So if I just click this, it's going to look like I'm liking my own stuff, right? That's kind of crazy. But if I click on the post itself and then I click on the like, oh, didn't do it. Oh, then it has to be this bar up here. I've done this before too. Then when you click on the likes, it'll pull up um who liked it. Okay. All right.
This is actually a great question. How do you distinguish between a bot and a legitimate person? Um, that is a fabulous question. Um, Lori, go up to your likes again. Um, and this is why at the beginning we were saying how important it was for you to do a profile. So if she scrolls down on the people who have liked this post, um, see if we can.
Like this person, I would be worried is a bot. Now, they have a picture, which is not a random like flower. Um, it doesn't have to be a picture of yourself to not be a bot. But a lot of times the bots will have something like
Like,
this.
yeah, there we go.
Okay,
And then
and
if
I'm not
you,
saying this person is a bot, but
but
they
if
don't
you,
have a name. They don't have a customized picture. If I go look at their profile, they don't have a banner, right? Um, kind of interesting post here. Again, I'm not saying um they're a bot at
and,
all.
and a lot of times you'll see like broken English, a lot of misspellings in a bot. And the real interesting thing I found on Blue Sky is there seems to be a network of what I'm calling polite bots. That they have not actually posted anything themselves, but they will go into people's replies and try to start a discussion in a polite way. And then if you actually go to their feed, there's nothing but reply after reply after reply after reply for literally hours at a time. And it seems like they're trying to sow discord politely.
Yeah, you'll see if
So
you go over to replies here, you'll just see it won't be like they're quoting these. You'll just see reply after reply after reply. It won't be them quoting.
And so bots and trolls usually tend to have a lot more replies than quotes or original posts.
It's a good question. How is there any way to find geographic user groups? Well, there's no groups on Blue Skies yet. Um, so just be aware of that. You can always do a search. Like if I wanted to search who's in Tennessee, I could search, TN. Oh,
There's one
goody.
since I've joined Blue Sky, I've gotten a lot of followers, many more on Twitter. Um, I think a lot of people are just excited right now, and the starter packs have just been amazing.
Oh, that's a good idea. Adding account start date. All right.
Can you show
Um,
them the live detach quote again?
yeah, I can.
And remember, with a lot of these, you actually need to go into the actual post. Um, and so, you need to make sure you're going into your post and actually clicking on it so you're not in a feed anymore.
So I go to mentions and I would look for somebody who's quote like so let's say Kim said something hateful here, which she didn't. Um, but there I could go into this three dots in that post, and there's the detach quote option. Okay, that's how you do it.
If you unfollow somebody, no, they won't get a notification. They only get a notification if you follow them.
How do you put up a banner? So when you go to your profile, where it says edit profile, it's going to give you an option here. And when you click on that option, it's going to give you upload from files and remove the banner. So if I wanted to change my banner, I could take it off. That's where I could put the new one. If I want to change my photo, my display name, my description, any of that is how I would do that from the edit my profile. Okay.
And then there's
Um,
someone saying they've lost their starter packs a few times while they're trying to edit it. If there's a lot of people doing it at the same time, that can happen. So what I do on mine is I only do about 10 accounts at a time before I save it and then just go back to edit it. Because that happened to me on my very first starter pack and I was up to like 125 and then it timed out. So, and then there's someone asking that they're having a hard time opening an account or they're getting into an endless loop. Um, if that's the case, I would not do it on the app. Instead, I would go to the BlueSky on desktop and do it. It's a little bit easier that way. So there's the link to that. If you're having any problems, um, it's usually easier to create an account on desktop versus the app.
okay, so if you wanted to, there's a question about how to share a starter pack. So I have a small starter pack that I'm still working on. But when you have started one, then you just click share and it creates a link. You can either copy the link and share it in a post, or you can share a QR code, whatever makes sense for you.
QR code would make more sense if you're sharing it on a different platform.
Uh,
Because,
Marie says she's never used the desktop. Today is the first day I've used the desktop. I use my phone for everything.
yeah,
So, but sometimes it's easier for other people to use their desktop than their phone.
I use both. But I'm also on my computer all day. So I have multiple tabs open.
How are you going to stop the shitification of BlueSky, like what happened to X? Well, uh, that will be up to BlueSky moderation. But I will tell you that they have done a nice job moderating. And when people report people as bad actors, their accounts get pulled down pretty quick. Um, so that's what I would, we can't control it. Um,
So we've
but
got
Blue's at least, before Twitter, before when Jack Dorsey had it, it still wasn't great. But they did try to moderate hate speech. And of course, Elon fired all those people. Um, so yes, it's very good for they're doing a much better job of moderating now than Twitter
and
does.
they're being really fast about taking down imposter accounts. Um, so we have a couple questions on starter packs. So can you tweak and edit after you've released a starter pack? Yes, you can. So if you go to your starter pack and you click the edit button, um, you can remove people. So
This is adding
you,
people.
so
But if I go
like,
to
I mean,
next,
let's say you want to just click one of them, and then you realize you didn't, all you do is unclick that to edit a starter pack. Um, And then we had someone ask, our starter packs pretty safe and not a bunch of social butterfly influencers? Yes, these are all activists. There's a few larger accounts, but most of the starter packs are going to be smaller accounts. So, um, I think I do have AOC and Maxwell Frost, but that's about as influencer as we've gotten on there. So, and then I put that in there, but there is a way to search for starter packs. There is a BlueSky starter pack directory. And if you go to a starter pack, then you can click follow all. Um, and if really you can't make a feed from a starter pack, but what you can do is go to a starter pack and view all of the posts, which kind of creates a curated feed from them.
Um, so is blocking someone the only way to stop them from following you? You can block them and then unblock them, and they're not following you anymore. But they can still follow you back. So it's not going to keep them from following you. Okay. The only way to keep somebody from following you is to block them and keep them blocked. Um, how do you
Here's a
vet
really
individual followers? I'll tell you how I vet people. So if I go to my post and I want to look to see who has reposted, um, because that's generally what I do is I follow back people who interact with my content. So if I see this person, I go and I look to see, do they have a banner? Do they have some sort of customized? Does this make sense? What are they reposting? So I look to see at who they're reposting and what they're saying. And then also under replies, I'll go look and see um, what their replies are, because that gives me a better hint. Instead of just reposting, it gives me a better hint about what kind of account this is.
you cannot save a list to a starter pack. Um, so but you can pin a list so that you see it and makes it a little bit easier. Um, and this is actually a really good comment. You know, if you have been on Twitter and you're thinking of leaving, I would not delete your account. I would lock your account, make it private, because then nobody can go in and try to impersonate your account, especially if you had a large following. And then how do I unfollow someone? If you just go if you just go to their um, here, click on Julie, or you can see unfollow right there, or you can go to their profile and do the same thing.
Alicia put a question in. Um, I found what if you want to start a list. So when you go to your list, it's going to be blank until you create a list. So you'll have to hit that new button, and then like I have a list here, which I just started today, so it's not anywhere finished, but about people that I want to make sure I keep up with. And it's not necessarily people that are on other feeds or lists. I like the popular with friends feed myself, um, just because I can kind of see like the people who I'm friends with, what are the things that they're responding a lot to. Um, so but that's completely. And then how do you can you subscribe to someone else's list? I guess you can, Jamie.
If you just pin somebody else's list.
Right. So I go to Jamie. You got a list, Jamie?
Yep, you already put it. It's the Democratic
Already is.
politicians.
Right.
Yep.
I just go to her list and then it'll give me an option once I click on it to pin or unpin. Okay. Are there any other questions that we did not get a chance to answer?
And we will be sending all of this out. Um, there is, can we share our list? And so tomorrow I will share lists and starter packs that we've done tonight for everybody. Um, oh, this is a good one. Where do you go to discover feeds? Um, I mean, we had done a slide deck, but it might be, so if you click your feeds button and scroll down, you can go to discover and then you can actually like mutuals, that's from people from posts who are following you back. If you want to do cats, you type in resist, you'll see Pacific feeds. The blue resistors, resources for resistance. So you can, and then if you click the plus button, it moves it up to your top. And then you can literally click on that feed and see what's on there.
So how do you display the search? Well, if you're on the desktop, it just shows it. Um, if you are on your phone, at the bottom of your screen, there's a little home button. There's a magnifying glass, and that's where you can search for feeds. Okay. All right. I think we've covered most everything. Um,
Um, so there's just one on few people having problems starting a list. So if you go to a list, go to your profile, or you can, or just, um, if you go to, you can create a new list from list.
so you just name your list, describe
Yep.
it, hit save, and then
I'll
at the
say this feed is empty. Um, and that's when you go to edit list details. Or sorry, that's not right. If so, if you go to your so if you go to your feed, just go to your home button, um, and you can no, just go to home.
I'm pushing the home button. It's nothing happening. There we go. Well,
Just click the DemCast one. So if you click on a user, um, Lori could click on her own name and you'll see three dots that will let you add to a list. Maybe it won't. Yeah, so
okay.
add to list. So if you go to someone's profile, you can add to a list.
Now I have put myself on my own list. I'm deleting that very soon. All right. Thanks, guys, everybody. I think we'll probably have another, as we learn more, we'll have more trainings. Um, and if when we send you out an email, if there's other questions that you have, you can respond back to us and we'll add that to your list. Okay?
Yeah, and then there is one final comment, a list of great news sources. That is next up on my list to do. So,
I have a couple of those that I have subscribed to, but yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
thanks, guys.